Hi, you guys. I want to talk about processing emotions, feeling your emotions, and understanding your emotions better. This is how we actually do inner work. This is how we sit with ourselves. This is how we do healing. And I'm going to give you a little exercise that you can use to understand yourself better and your emotions better. And you can use this exercise in many situations, any situation that actually triggers an emotion within you. But I want to start from giving you a specific example so you understand why is what's actually the objective of this exercise, because in reality people think that they know how they feel, that they understand themselves, and then they understand their emotions. But you would be surprised how many people, if not most, still don't actually understand how they feel because of the mechanisms of projection, because of the mechanisms of denial. People love just to shift how they feel because of their own inner state of being to external events. And like I said, most people do live in denial, subconscious fear of going deeper on themselves, connecting deeper to their own emotions and to their own bodies. And that is preventing them from actually opening up to even try to understand that is actually how I'm feeling. It has nothing to do with this person, it has nothing to do with the situation, because the feeling, in order to feel it, it needs to exist within you. So we're going to start from one example that I want to give you, and it's going to be around the misunderstanding of what empathy actually is. And I've done a couple of videos about empathy. You can check them out in detail and in depth. You can check them out on my YouTube, but I want to bottom line this for you for the context of this video. So most people misunderstand empathy, and they think that empathy means that I feel the feeling of another person, but it's not actually true. It's not feeling the feeling of another person. True empathy, when we talk about actual empaths, for example, healers, but healers that already went through the journey of healing, return to self, yin and yang, and inner peace sort of a journey, they understand that being an empath, it's not so much feeling the feeling of another person, but it's reading and understanding the feeling of another person. And I love giving an example of being an empath. It's like having the ability to open a book and read it without thinking that you are the character and that it's actually happening to you. And similarly with compassion, right? So empathy and compassion is not something that causes emotion and causes feeling. It's a quality, it's ability that helps you to take respective proper action. So when you are an empath, you can read the emotion of another person so you can understand them better, and then you immediately let that go. Because if you don't let that go, it means that this is your own emotion. You cannot hold for extended period of time, especially when this person is no longer around, emotion of another person. That does not make you an empath. That means that you're wounded and that they trigger something within you, and your mind, because it's easier, gives you a story. Minds are storytellers. Our minds love that. Mind, to protect you, gives you a story that is because you're an empath, it's okay. It's because you're just very sensitive, which is not true. Has nothing to do with empathy and sensitivity. And similarly, compassion. Having compassion is understanding through empathy oftentimes how another person is feeling, but it's not feeling their feelings. It's for take appropriate action to align with how are they feeling, so you can hold space for them, you can hold them, you can support them. So we have these qualities as human beings so we can actually exist as a community and not be completely egoistic, because in reality it's a natural quality of all human beings to have empathy and compassion. It's just that most people either have it dormant or they completely misunderstand it and they use it as a story not to deal with their own unprocessed emotions. So I want to give you an example, and it happens a lot with people that I observe and work with. When something happens to another person, right, and we talk about either a tragedy or a very challenging moment of life, or something very painful, so it's going to be a heartbreak, a divorce, a breakup, a loss of a person, a loss of a job, issues with health, right? people react and they feel this emotion within them, right? So let's say your friend told you that she's going through a divorce and that her husband like cheated on her and he's just leaving her and she's devastated. Having empathy is having the ability to, in the moment when you stand in front of her, to feel her emotion, to actually as well, you may have that added quality of a natural healer that we also all are, to transmute that little bit for another person with your strength and with your inner peace. You feel that emotion, you will cry with that person, you will react to that emotion with that person, because you will feel it in the moment. You will actually feel it, but the moment you leave the room, you let that go. And why it exists for you to have a remembrance of that feeling, to really understand how this person feel without you having went through that experience yourself, so you can then activate your compassion that will guide you towards the proper action that will help you to reach out to this person, to spend more time with this person, to hold space for this person, to help him to go for this experience. That's how it's supposed to work, and that's the proper model. Whereas most people, they're going to come back home, they're going to continue to feel this emotion, they're going to have trouble accepting it, they're going to cry, they're going to have trouble sleeping, they're going to constantly worry about this person, they're going to constantly think about this, they're going to be overwhelmed, they're going to be stressed, they're going to feel anxiety. And they're going to say to themselves, oh, it's because I feel for this person, because I'm very sensitive and I don't like what they're going through. That it's not the case. It's not the case, and you're still here. It means that you're ready to accept that, and you're ready to start connecting to your own emotions in order to heal and understand. And it's a balance between, this is why so many people, when they look towards people who already are balanced, healed, they found their way back home to self, it's just labels, you would know what I mean. It seems like we're detached, it seems like we're rootless, but it's not the case. We just don't carry around emotion of other people. We act because, again, empathy and compassion are qualities that help you to act respectively and appropriately in a situation, but it's not carrying the burden of another person for yourself. And when you are ready to accept that, this is where I want to give you that exercise, because you may feel that, right? You might be thinking to yourself right now, okay, that may be the case. Maybe that's true. I accept that. There's something within you that is confirming your intuition, your guides, that what I'm saying is true. But how do I figure this out? And this is where I want to give you this exercise. When you are ready to accept that it's your fear and your ego that is giving you a story, that it's actually empathy, and in reality it's your unprocessed trauma that your ego is afraid to go deeper on, to finally process and heal and release, this is where you can start doing that exercise. And it's important to understand one more thing before I give you that very simple exercise, is that there's usually a logical explanation as well that we can start from to understand the situation better. Because in many cases, not in all cases, because human psyche is quite complex, but in many cases, it can be just a straightforward situation, right? So if you feel that you are that person, okay, I thought I was an empath because I always cry when something happens to people, and I always, right? You can start analyzing what are the situations that upset you most. Because, for example, there may be people who always react this way in an empathetic way when they hear that someone is going for a breakup and is being left, right? So abandoned. So you may already start figuring out that this may be my greatest fear, that my partner is going to leave me, or even if you're single, that one day I'm going to fall in love and I'm going to be abandoned, because there's an abandonment wound and a rejection wound within you, right? Some people may react this way when someone is going through a loss. So someone is leaving this earth, and especially prematurely, for example, because it may mean that you have unprocessed grief within your heart, that you've lost someone and you've never dealt with that loss properly. So that wound is activated every time someone is losing someone, right? So that itself can be an indication as a one-to-one sort of a projection and a mirror. But sometimes it's a little bit more complex. Some people are going to react literally that way to everything, and it may be a healer wound. It may be, so there may be a variety of things. Like I said, it's human psyche, it's quite complex. So how do we start to understand what's going on? So when you're ready to accept that this is not empathy, this is not how empathy works. Again, if you want to learn more about empathy, go to my YouTube. That it's not how empathy works, that is not how compassion works, that is your unprocessed gunk. And you are ready to process that and to start working on that. Step one for healing is always that. It's always openness. Healing is really not that complicated. You would be surprised how many people think that they're already spiritual and that they're already healing, but all they do is like have an occasional, oracle card and burn some sage and do some yoga and mantras that they don't even understand, and they think that this is healing. No. Healing is very simple. It's just sitting with yourself, connecting to your body, connecting to your emotions in stillness for hours on end, just with yourself. It's like creating that bubble that for hours on a daily basis, you go inwards instead of focusing on the external world. It's like everything else stops and doesn't exist, and you're in that bubble, completely focusing your consciousness and your awareness on the self, on the human. That's how it happens, and that's all. That's very simple, really. So when you're ready to start connecting to that, because you're ready to accept that it's not empathy again, it's your unprocessed thing. The moment that situation comes forth and an emotion comes forth, here's what you're going to do. I want you to start from a daily practice for a couple of days to find yourself a place where you can be on your own, undisturbed, unbothered, peacefully for some time. If you live on your own, that's quite simple. If you live with a partner, just let them know that you want to stay in a room. If you live with a partner that you cannot communicate this, side note, it may be a sign that you shouldn't be with that partner. But that's a whole different story. But just tell them that you need to take a bath or take a shower. You need some time for yourself. Because all you're going to need in the beginning is like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. You may not be capable of sitting with yourself, people who are not used to it. And it's another misconception. So many people think that contemplation, meditation, time with yourself, that it's enough that you go, for a walk a couple of times a week to a forest and you think about things, or you take your dog for a walk and you have a little moment of peace, or you read a book in peace, or you take a bath. These are all things that can accommodate that contemplation, but it's really the stillness. And sometimes it's literally actually the physical stillness that helps us to really detach for a moment from that external world. And it's not just every now and then. It literally takes sitting hours with yourself, okay? When you're going through that period of actual deep healing, right? All right, so you're going to find a calm place. You're going to sit in a cross-legged position. That's the best one, on the ground, close to Mama Gaia. But if that's very uncomfortable for you, for whatever reason, health reasons, you can sit on a chair. You're going to close your eyes, and you're going to put your left hand on your heart, your left, the masculine side, left hand on your heart, and you're going to put your right hand on your womb. If you're a man, that's your chara space, that's your sacral space. And you're going to start from doing what we call a dragon's breath for 3 to 5 times. So what it actually means, what is a dragon breath, I don't want to go into very details because, again, this video would be like extremely long, but all my videos are, whatever, nobody cares. You know me if you watch me. But just to bottom line this for you, you're going to breathe in through the nose, and you're going to visualize as you are breathing in that air into the womb space, so into your sacral space. You're going to hold it there for a minute. And as you exhale, you're going to exhale through your mouth with a sigh, loud sigh if you can, sticking your tongue out and visualizing the air going upwards and being released here between in your chest area, so between your heart and between your throat, which is the truth, the inner truth, not just communications and misconceptions, actually the inner truth. So you're gonna do into your womb, hold it there for a minute, literally just and imagining that it's releasing and it's opening this area, the chest area. And you're going to repeat that 3 to 5 times. You can do a little bit more if you want to. It can be quite overwhelming if you've never done this before. But it's also a great exercise to just release a little bit, to drop a little bit. And how we feel our emotions is we actually feel our body. We connect to our body. So the first thing that as well I want you to do, you're going to do all this all the time in this position with your eyes closed. What I want you to do is just to say out loud is best. Again, if you're hiding and you don't want to speak out loud, that's fine. Or you can whisper, but out loud is best, because it's also activating that inner truth. I actually say it out loud. It's very powerful to say things out loud. Thinking that in your mind, it's one thing, but saying it out loud, that's why we also say stand in the mirror, say it out loud, say it to yourself, hear it for yourself, right? So you're going to say out loud, I allow my body to show me. I allow my body to show me what is hidden, what is suppressed, what is afraid to come forth. It is safe. It is safe to show me. And when we say, I allow my body to show me, it's not just for my body to show me in the sense of sensations, although it can happen, shivers or pains or aches in specific places of your body that always links back to chakra. So it's going to be then easier for you to figure out what is actually going on. But allowing your body to show you, it's also allowing your subconscious mind to come forth using your mind, vision, memory, thoughts, to show you. And once you say it, you can say it once or twice. I connect to my body, it's safe. I allow my body to show me what is hidden, what is in my subconscious mind, what is causing this emotion. I allow my body to show me what I need to see. And then what you're going to do, you're just going to continue to sit like this and continue to breathe. You can soften your breath a little bit, but it's good to continue to use that sort of a dragon breath. So a little bit milder through the nose, more natural, and sort of again more softer, but still through the mouth, sort of a visualizing as you release here from the chest. And you're going to continue to speak out loud the feelings that you actually think that you feel because this person is going through this, right? So if we're talking about that situation, let's say that example that I've given you, you feel sad because your friend is going through a heartbreak, right? So you're going to continue to repeat, I'm heartbroken. You're going to continue to repeat these emotions. So you're going to say, I'm heartbroken, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I'm crushed, I'm devastated. Whatever emotion comes to your mind, however you thought that they are feeling, and that you are just an empath and you're feeling that. And you're going to just sit there with yourself again for the whole thing to be like minimum 10 minutes, 15, as long as you can. And your body will show you. You will start to recognize this emotion in your own. You will have a vision. You will have a remembrance of specific people in your life, of specific situations that caused that thorn in your heart. It is sitting there, that you have covered with a cushion of denial because of fear, right? This is how human psyche actually works. Things happen to us that we're not ready to process, especially if they happen at early age. And because we're not able to process within our whole existence, within our body, the mind, the ego mind, creates a defense mechanism that is then, it exists in form of denial, of avoidance, of anxiety, of people-pleasing, of all the traits and all the shadows of human psyche that you have. instead of processing that reason, which is abandonment, which is rejection, which is loss, which is betrayal, whatever that core wound is, there are few core wounds that all people actually carry to a certain extent. So as you repeat those emotions and those feelings, your body will start to show you that it is actually your own. And I would really doubt for any of you to be surprised what you're going to see. Because deep down, we know no. We know no. We know. We really know. This is my emotion. It's really not rocket science. It's just that most people, again, are deeply in denial. But if you really think that you don't understand certain things, it's just going to come forth. And if you're going to do this once and it's not, working, it's going to depend on the level of your denial, on the level of, so try just to try to 3, 4, 5 times in a row every day. Connect to your feelings, connect to your body, really try to feel safer and safer. It's okay. Because as long as your mind doesn't want to accept that this is your feeling, your body is not going to want to show you. It's all interconnected. So you have to make sure that you confirm and consciously say out loud, it's safe to show me. I want to see, it's safe to show me. And if you feel like do this once or twice and it's not bringing any effect, you can call upon your spirit guides, souls that are connected to you, souls that protect you, archangels, whoever you pray to, whoever is around you, whoever you feel energetic, please help me to feel safe enough. I want to know, I'm ready to know, please show me. And believe me that your body will show you. Your body will communicate with you. And if you want to continue this practice, after a couple of times you do this in a quiet room, and you establish that connection with your body, you can start doing that literally every time the emotion comes forth. So you start to feel, you think that this is just someone else's emotions, you feel that this is just empathy. You get into your car, you sit there, show me why I really feel this way. And this is a great exercise to actually understand that you are not an empath, you're just wounded. But you can use this practice as well in situations when someone triggers you. And these situations are a little bit more complex to understand because oftentimes people annoy us. People, get on our nerves. There are people that we cannot stand their behavior, what they say, but it's always a mirror and it's always a projection. So sometimes we cannot understand why it's happening. And when you're training that mechanism of understanding that it's always a mirror, it's always within you, it's always just a trigger. People don't have the power to make you feel. We've been through this so many times. People don't have the power to make you intimidated, to make you feel humiliated, to make you feel offended, to make you feel heartbroken. These feelings have to exist within you. So someone through their behavior, doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, or evil, right? It's just an illusion. So they can activate that within you. But it has to exist within you. If you completely release shame, through deep healing, which is possible, I promise you, okay, I'm a living example of that. If you completely release shame, there is no way that someone will make you say something, do something, that you will feel humiliated. Once you have that worthiness on point, once you release that shame and that guilt from your system, shame is one of the biggest shadows that we carry collectively. All people think that everybody, the shame is the biggest thing, okay? Shame is one of the biggest blockers. Once you release that, no one will offend you, right? No one will humiliate you because you don't carry that emotion within you. People don't have the power, right? If you have high self-esteem, but not that ego self-esteem, but true worthiness-based self-esteem, self-love, self-esteem, I am worthy, it's my birthright, no one will intimidate you. You're not going to have the means. Because all people can do externally is to trigger something that does or doesn't exist within you, period. Okay? So you can use that exercise when someone, again, pisses you off or like it's on your nerves and you don't really understand why. You can sit with yourself, show me why this person, I want to know, I allow things from my psyche to come to the surface. All right. I hope this was helpful. I hope you now understand, if you're still here, there's a remembrance within you, there's a knowledge of your soul that empathy is not what most people think that it is. Most people are just gooey. I'm sorry to say that. Being a healer, being an empath, having went through this journey, understanding it very well and embodying it very well at this point, I can promise you, people who wander around saying that they're just sensitive and they're empaths and they feel bad for others, they're just gooey. They have tons of unprocessed trauma, unprocessed emotions, unprocessed pain, grief, loss that they carry within their hearts. And it's just easier to say, oh, I'm just sensitive. Because healing, as much as a task, like I explained to you, it is very simple, very straightforward. Of course, there are practices, spiritual teachers who can facilitate it and help that. But in reality, it is just sitting with yourself. It's that simple. Can be done in a very simple way. The tools, the practices, the healers, it all exists in the initial stages when you are still intimidated to do it yourself, to walk you through this, to facilitate it for you, to help you through that. But it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary. It's just sitting with yourself. So in reality, it is very simple, but it's very disturbing for the ego. It's very uncomfortable for the ego, because in order to release feelings, emotions, process them properly, they have to come to the surface. There's going to be a lot of crying. There's going to be a lot of fear. There's going to be a lot of uncomfort. But you know what they say, my favorite saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. It has to get a little bit worse to then get way better, to achieve the only emotions that we can achieve permanently, which is peace and bliss. You have to go through a lot of storms. You have to go down to the darkness and to the hell of your own shadows to find your way towards the light. So those who are ready, and will find ultimately, if you won't cave, if you won't get scared, you'll find it, utopia, in this lifetime, because it exists within you. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Again, I hope it was helpful. And yeah, love you. Bye.